What's going on, YouTube? Mr. Wills here once again, welcoming you to another edition of Sports Talk. This episode is a quarterfinal look at the Men's World Hockey Championship and a preview and my predictions for the quarterfinals. I enjoy watching this tournament, and I've been waiting for it to get to the quarterfinal stage so that I would have an excuse to talk about it. Before I get into my predictions, I'd ask you to, as always, please give this video a like. I'd really like it if you'd subscribe to my channel. You can follow me on Twitter at SledgeHead86 and stop by Facebook and give my Facebook fan page a like, Mr. Wheels86. The links will be in the description down below, and you can find my video on those sites as well. So the first matchup in the quarterfinals is the USA and Switzerland. This is probably a fairly easy matchup for the U.S. I would consider them a favorite facing Switzerland. Not that Switzerland won't be a tough test, but I'm favoring the U.S. and picking them. The one thing I will say though is Switzerland could pull off an upset. That's always possible, especially in a tournament like this. Mainly, and the reason I feel that way is because the U.S., considering the other three matchups in the quarterfinals, I would say their goaltending is among the weakest. And they've got some college players, the likes of Jack Eichel and a few others that are facing international play at the men's level, not the junior level, the men's level for the first time. So Switzerland will be a good test for the U.S., but I'm picking the U.S. over Switzerland. Moving on to Sweden versus Russia. On paper, it's an easy pick to say that Russia could easily win this game. They're going to want to bounce back from being upset by the Finns in their last preliminary round game. The Russians finished third in Group B, behind the Finns and the U.S. But on paper, the Russians have one of the best teams in the tournament, and I think if they bring their A game and play the way they can, the way they played against, I believe it was Norway to open the tournament, then they could easily get by Sweden. Sweden, on the other hand, they've got a good team. They finished second in Group A, but they're really going to miss the Sedins. The Sedins are not on the roster, and I don't believe Henrik Zetterberg is either. And there's a few others that aren't on the roster. It's surprisingly, the Swedes have a roster that is primarily made up of players who play in the KHL, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of teams that have a lot of KHL players on their team, but I'm taking the Russians because I've seen them play in this tournament, and if they play the way they can, they should easily get by Sweden, no problem. Moving on to Canada and Belarus. This is another matchup where it's probably too easy of a matchup for Canada, and it would be easy to look by Belarus. But I want to remind people that upsets are possible. Don't get me wrong; I'm taking the Canadians to win their quarterfinal matchup. But in 2002, Belarus upset Sweden at the Olympics, and it's always possible for an upset. You never know, especially when you get into the elimination games. It's possible. The one thing I will point out about Belarus is, although they have Andrei and Sergei Kostitsyn on their team, the one notable player that has had NHL experience and is currently in the NHL, Mikhail Grabovski, and Nikolai Kulemin, I might add, are both not on the team. And that is going to be a distinct disadvantage for Belarus. And not that they were not at a disadvantage already facing Canada, but it's going to make that matchup versus Canada that much harder. So I've got Canada over Belarus. Moving on to probably what I would say will be the most closely contested quarterfinal matchup, Finland versus the Czech Republic. This was a very hard matchup to pick a winner in. Finland, I would give them the edge in goal. Pekarinen, I expect him to start. Going up against Andrei Pavlik would be my guess. I give Finland the edge in net. However, Finland, I wouldn't say this is the best squad they could have sent to this tournament. It's not like in previous years where they've had a really noticeable good team. On paper, and I know it's just on paper, I would give the edge offensively to the Czech Republic, and the fact that they're going to be in front of their home crowd would kind of give the idea that they might have the edge. But I wanted to pick the Czech Republic, but I'm picking Finland because I think Pekarinen will be the difference. If the Czechs are going to have a chance to prove me wrong, they're going to have to throw everything at Pekarinen and get to him early. Andrei Pavlik, on the other hand, it's not that he's a bad goalie. If you watch the NHL playoff series, Winnipeg and Anaheim, you would notice that, he can be a shaky goalie at times. And I'm just giving the edge to Finland. I think they'll be the ones to move on. So that about wraps it up. So my winners moving on to the semifinal would be USA versus Russia, and Canada versus Finland would be the semifinal matchups. Whether that works out or not remains to be seen, and either way I'll probably be doing a video previewing the semifinals anyway. But that's all I have for right now. So remember to give this video a like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.